Hello students, welcome to Indian Academy Degree College Autonomous Asynchronous Learning. Today we are going to enjoy the 5-act play, The Comedy of Errors by William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was an English playwright, poet and actor, widely regarded as the greatest writer in the English language and the world's greatest dramatist. Many of Shakespeare's plays were published in editions of varying quality and accuracy in his lifetime. Dear students, The Comedy of Errors is one of William Shakespeare's early plays. It is his shortest and one of his most farcical comedies, with a major part of the humor coming from slapstick and mistaken identity, in addition to puns and wordplay. The Comedy of Errors is, along with The Tempest, one of only 2 Shakespeare plays to observe the Aristotelian principle of unity of time. That is, that the events of a play should occur over 24 hours. It has been adapted for opera, stage, screen and musical theater numerous times worldwide. Set in the Greek city of Ephesus, The Comedy of Errors tells the story of 2 sets of identical twins who were accidentally separated at birth. In the first act of the play, because a law forbids merchants from Syracuse to enter Ephesus, elderly Syracusan trader Aegeon faces execution when he is discovered in the city. He can only escape by paying a fine of 1,000 marks. He tells his sad story to Solanus, Duke of Ephesus. In his youth, Aegeon married and had twin sons. On the same day, a poor woman without a job also gave birth to twin boys, and he purchased these as slaves to his sons. Soon afterward, the family made a sea voyage and was hit by a tempest. Aegeon lashed himself to the mainmast with 1 son and 1 slave, and his wife took the other 2 infants. His wife was rescued by 1 boat, Aegeon by another. Aegeon never again saw his wife or the children with her. Recently his son Antipholus, now grown, and his son's slave Dromio left Syracuse to find their brothers. When Antipholus did not return, Aegeon set out in search of him. The Duke is moved by this story and grants Aegeon 1 day to pay his fine. That same day, Antipholus arrives in Ephesus, searching for his brother. He sends Dromio to deposit some money at the Centaur, an inn. He is confounded when the identical Dromio of Ephesus appears almost immediately, denying any knowledge of the money and asking him home to dinner, where his wife is waiting. Antipholus, thinking his servant is making insubordinate jokes, beats Dromio of Ephesus. Listen to what happened in Act 2. Dromio of Ephesus returns to his mistress, Adriana, saying that her husband refused to come back to his house, and even pretended not to know her. Adriana, concerned that her husband's eye is straying, takes this news as confirmation of her suspicions. Antipholus of Syracuse, who complains, "I could not speak with Dromio since at first I sent him from the mart," meets up with Dromio of Syracuse, who now denies making a joke about Antipholus having a wife. Antipholus begins beating him. Suddenly, Adriana rushes up to Antipholus of Syracuse and begs him not to leave her. The Syracusans cannot but attribute these strange events to witchcraft, remarking that Ephesus is known as a warren for witches. Antipholus and Dromio go off with this strange woman, the one to eat dinner and the other to keep the gate. In Act 3, Antipholus of Ephesus returns home for dinner and is enraged to find that he is rudely refused entry to his own house by Dromio of Syracuse, who is keeping the gate. He is ready to break down the door, but his friends persuade him not to make a scene. He decides, instead, to dine with a courtesan. Inside the house, Antipholus of Syracuse discovers that he is very attracted to his wife's sister, Luciana of Smyrna, telling her, "Train me not, sweet mermaid, with thy note, to drown me in thy sister's flood of tears." She is flattered by his attention but worried about their moral implications. After she exits, Dromio of Syracuse announces that he has discovered that he has a wife, Nell, a hideous kitchen maid. He describes her as spherical, like a globe. "I could find out countries in her." Antipholus jokingly asks him to identify the countries, leading to a witty exchange in which parts of her body are identified with nations. Ireland is her buttocks. "I found it out by the bogs." He claims he has discovered America and the Indies, upon her nose all o'er embellished with rubies, carbuncles, sapphires, declining their rich aspect to the hot breath of Spain, who sent whole armadas of cracks to be ballast at her nose. The Syracusans decide to leave as soon as possible, and Dromio runs off to make travel plans. Antipholus of Syracuse is then confronted by Angelo of Ephesus, a goldsmith, who claims that Antipholus ordered a chain from him. Antipholus is forced to accept the chain, and Angelo says that he will return for payment. In Act 4, the climax is visible. Antipholus of Ephesus dispatches Dromio of Ephesus to purchase a rope so that he can beat his wife Adriana for locking him out, then is accosted by Angelo, who tells him, "I thought to have ta'en you at the Porpentine," and asks to be reimbursed for the chain. He denies ever seeing it and is promptly arrested. As he is being led away, Dromio of Syracuse arrives, whereupon Antipholus dispatches him back to Adriana's house to get money for his bail. After completing this errand, Dromio of Syracuse mistakenly delivers the money to Antipholus of Syracuse. The courtesan spies Antipholus wearing the gold chain, and says he promised it to her in exchange for her ring. The Syracusans deny this and flee. Finally, in Act 5, the courtesan resolves to tell Adriana that her husband is insane. Dromio of Ephesus returns to the arrested Antipholus of Ephesus, with the rope. Antipholus is infuriated. Adriana, Luciana, and the courtesan enter with a conjurer named Pinch, who tries to exorcise the Ephesians, who are bound and taken to Adriana's house. The Syracusans enter, carrying swords, and everybody runs off in fear, believing that they are the Ephesians, out for vengeance after somehow escaping their bonds. Adriana reappears with henchmen, who attempt to bind the Syracusans. They take sanctuary in a nearby priory, where the abbess resolutely protects them. Suddenly, the abbess enters with the Syracusan twins, and everyone begins to understand the confused events of the day. Not only are the two sets of twins reunited, but the abbess reveals that she is Aegin's wife, Amelia of Babylon. The Duke pardons Aegin. All exit into the abbey to celebrate the reunification of the family. Dear students, mistaken identity, reason versus emotion, fate in the fantastical, idyllic settings, separation and reconciliation, and happy endings are the characteristics of comedy. The play that we saw has all the characteristics of a comedy. This is the end of this session. Hope you enjoyed the session. Meet you soon with another interesting literary piece. Have a good day. Thank you.